One. Kia ora e te whānau, welcome to the HIWA Launch. Tēnā koutou, talofa lava, malole lei, whakalofa lahi atu, and a warm Pacific greeting to everyone who's tuning in today. It's wonderful to see you. Today is a pretty special day for our live streams. I've been doing a few live streams over COVID during lockdown, but today's a little bit different. Today we're launching our new program, which is called HIWA. And I'm joined by the amazing team from Shopify in Canada, but also here in Aotearoa. And we're going to have a little chat today. We're going to have a kōrero about what's been going on in our different countries around lockdown, but also what the opportunities are for Indigenous women, Māori and Pacific here in New Zealand for our first program to join the HIWA program. So without further ado, I am going to introduce our guest today. So kia ora to Jace Mayer, who's here from the Canada Shopify team, and she can tell you what she does. Kia ora, Jace.
Kia ora, Rachel. Thank you so much for having me. As you said, my name is Jace Meyer. I am a Métis woman from Treaty 5 territory in Canada, but I live on the Algonquin territory in our nation's capital of the country. And I'm the lead for Indigenous entrepreneurs. And I'm so excited that we are having this conversation today about how to support more, especially Indigenous women, our wahine tawa, to enter into entrepreneurship as a way to find self-actualization and economic well-being, and really just to grow the Indigenous economy worldwide.
No mai hara mai, Jace. Wonderful to have you here. And I'm going to come down my screen. So I'm going to come to the beautiful Inez White, who is here from, I think you're based in Wainuiomata, aren't you, Iwa?
Ai, tēnā koe, Rachel. Tēnā koutou katoa. Ko te aroa tōku waka, ko notaha tōku maunga, ko rotorua tōku moana, ko Inez te reiti taku ingoa, no rotorua ahau. Thank you for having me, Rachel, and it's lovely to be here with the beautiful Jace and with David, and really appreciate the opportunity. Sure.
Awesome. So we'll hear from the ladies soon, and now I'm going to come across the screen to our amazing Tanes. So we have David Pereira, who I had the privilege of meeting in Canada as well, in Vancouver for the World Indigenous Business Forum last year. And we had an amazing connection and a good kōrero. So welcome onto our live stream, David.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Talofa, kia ora. I'm David Pereira. I'm actually of Samoan heritage, born and raised in Auckland, New Zealand, and I live in Canada in a place called Kelowna in BC, where currently I'm a growth strategist with Shopify for Startups, a new program where we work with accelerators and growth startups globally. Prior to that, I worked around a Shop Capital program where we look to invest in merchants. And currently that's over $1 billion we've invested in our US merchants to date, with expansion now in the UK and Canada. I'm excited to be here. I left New Zealand a long time ago, 2005, 2 days after my last university exam, and spent 10.5 years in Asia, then came to Canada. And thank you for having me. It's really, really special to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. And I think what's really special about this partnership that we have, Rise 2025 is really for Indigenous leaders and specifically Indigenous women to really amplify, accelerate their leadership and also their businesses through entrepreneurship. So what I was looking for in a partnership was high trust partnership, and sometimes they're quite hard to find, to be honest, when you're in business. But what I found with Shopify meeting Jace, meeting David, meeting Inez was that real feeling of high trust. So we signed a partnership a few weeks ago, and then we just got on with it. But it's been a bit of a journey to get here. And in between that, we've had COVID, and the world becomes a lot smaller place when things like that happen to us. And so what I'd really like to check in with everyone is how's it all been? I mean, we're here in New Zealand. What's it been like for you, David, and where you're living in Canada?
There's been good things that have come from it, I would say, and then a lot of hardship as well. I would have to say that I'm fortunate than most, and I keep a grip on that daily, because there's a lot of people in Canada that are unemployed. There's a lot of people that have been affected. In my region, it's not as bad as other places within Canada, but the environment and the change has come and will last. And really looking at recovery and where that's going to go is really looking at how humanity will be changed in the distant future. I think some things will recover, some things will always be different.
Yeah.
I think coming to grips with that. So I would say some people have found it hard and some people are affected. But I acknowledge my own privilege that I'm lucky I work for Shopify. I'm lucky I have a job, and that I don't worry about those important things for families and how to feed my children and my kids.
Kia ora, kia ora. Jace, what's it been like for you in your bubble?
Yeah, I agree with David. I think it's been a really interesting experience. There is definitely a level of privilege that I'm afforded that protects me from the worst of it. Working at Shopify has largely been the reason for that. But you know, as I look out wider into the Indigenous community and across entrepreneurs, there's definitely a massive need to pivot and shapeshift through this moment. That as an Indigenous woman, I actually find this moment has presented a lot of hope. I think that the world is redefining what is essential, and those essential things really reflect our worldview. And so I'm seeing an increase in focus, recognition, respect for those things that are going to create the conditions for more of us to thrive. But I would say that there's definitely a difference for those that are using e-commerce and have function in their business online to those that aren't. And so our folks in retail and tourism and the food industry have been severely affected. But they're also pivoting too. So there's been a lot of really great stories of resiliency through this, seeing, you know, restaurants shift to grocery sales, tourism industries shifting to building out stories and narratives and selling more imagery of the work that they do. And even in the artist level, for those that have online stores, you know, you've seen many people transition their businesses from what once was, you know, producing one pair of earrings to actually realizing there's a lot of value in the knowledge of how to produce earrings. And so they're opening up new revenue streams by actually sharing how to make the earrings they produce. And that's giving them more opportunities to connect with new customers, share their knowledge and protect that in the moment like this, and create more revenue opportunities for themselves that, you know, are easy to scale because they can sell many iterations of their e-learning content over one pair of earrings. So it's been a really mixed bag of experiences. But again, I remain incredibly hopeful. I think that actually this is the moment for Indigenous businesses to rise.
Yeah. Kia ora, Jace. Love that. I love that word as well, rise.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, very good, Jace. We didn't script this, Whānau. We didn't script this. Inez, what about you? What about in Wainui, you know, and you know, not in the big, you know, the big metropolis? What's it like for you?
You know, I have had to be very, very wary not to be whakahihi, you know, because I've actually loved lockdown. Lockdown for me has been a happy place. But that's because normal life is something I have to work at. As a person, the hustle and bustle of life, working and travel and managing life with kids and everything, that's something that I work at every day just to be calm and at peace with. And I think if I had something like Rise 2025 where I had sisterhood, I had able to connect like that with sisterhood and coaching and mentoring, I would have taken that opportunity up, you know, 5-6 years ago when I started my business and when I started parenting and everything. So for me, COVID-19 has been a little bit of a break from what is normally hard work for me. So I've loved it, yeah, but I have had to be really grateful for the fact that, one, I work for Shopify, and that isn't scripted, because we all work from home. And then when I had this opportunity for this job to be part of this team and like to be connected to what you do, Rachel, that is another point of something I have to be really grateful for, because it actually came up before COVID, and it was almost like a bit of divine intervention kind of thing. So I started in this role with this team and being able to be connected to your awesome mahi because of COVID, actually. Well, it's become difficult because of COVID. It's become like it really amplified the how lucky I am and how awesome this is going to be. Because of the COVID lockdown has really made that shine. So yeah, it's been good for me.
That's an excellent point, and as I almost oversaw that, but we've pivoted the focus we had in supporting Indigenous entrepreneurs. Originally, we wanted to take a very local geographic focus of having people on the ground representing their local communities, congregating together in groups in safe places. And then the world said that wasn't going to be allowed. And so we actually had to rewrite the entire intention for Inez's role. And I think actually we landed in a better place of appointing her as our Indigenous Global Ambassador with the focus and intention to offer more online education. And I think that's relevant because it's more accessible. More people can join in. And, also too, I think that we're really trying to build a borderless economy and help our goods and services move across the globe. So why not think that big? And it's such a great point of the story, Inez.
Yeah. I do have one other point to make to that story, is that Inez, to get her role where she is today, I had to interview, I think, 4 candidates. And so Inez had to ring me and pitch to me, and I was in Vegas in a really noisy place, but she just stayed with me and we went through the process, and it was amazing. So, I had my favorites, and, so all of the candidates were amazing, actually, I would say. But I was really happy when I heard Inez had got that role, because here in Aotearoa, we really want to raise the bar. So raise the bar for our wahine, raise the bar for us as Māori, as Pacifica, that we actually can be the owners of our own businesses. We can self-determine where we want to go with our businesses. And so having Inez in this role was also part of me wanting to partner with Shopify. When I knew that they were committed to that role, that's when I knew this is the partnership that I wanted to make happen. And so, thank you guys for listening. And really, where we are today has happened so quickly. So, David, I just want to ask you about, you talk about borderless, building borderless economies. And I know there's a lot of reports, and I've been starting to read up on what Shopify offers to developing countries. What do you think are the biggest benefits to our Indigenous cultures for coming on board and starting their own store online?
It's a good question. There's definitely a few things that come to mind. One of them I would start with first is the platform itself. Like there are other places you can sell, and I'm not saying don't sell on those other places. But if anything's shown me the fragility of business in COVID, is that we should never rely on one place to sell. So for example, you're selling on Amazon, you're selling on Facebook, you're selling anywhere. You sell B2B, for example, to businesses. It's shown that the stability and long-term sustainability of the business and growth, you can't rely on all those things. We actually have to look for many options. So Shopify, I believe it's a great platform. It brings a lot of equalizing tools. But within that platform, you can sell on all these things. You can still sell on Amazon. You can still sell on Facebook. So a great thing when we think of Indigenous people, borderless commerce, is to look back to the resiliency of all Indigenous people. We've all been through a lot. Indigenous people are going through a lot right now, and they still haven't gone rid of us. We're here to stay, and we're thriving. And it's time to change a lot of the narratives and what we see of commerce. If we see that, it relates to Indigenous people.
Beautiful.
And there's a lot of tools there behind that. We're a global company. We're there with capital and payment gateways and things like this. There's a space out there. I'll spend my time working more with corporate solutions and things like this than I have with my own communities. Because of distance, been away from home, been away from community for 15 plus years. So the chance for me to come back and do something for that and bring myself back closer to home, closer to communities, I realized that I don't want to be the first and only in a space anymore. Be in all spaces. Sorry, I'm not too sure if that really answered the question.
Yeah.
I think it adds a really important thing too that you mentioned, David, about being within your community. I know the expectation in Canada's perspective so often is in order to be successful, you need to move to the big cities. And especially for us Indigenous people, we're asked to leave for school. And, many don't return home. But that doesn't have to be the case anymore. You don't need to leave your community to run a very viable global business. And that means you can stay surrounded by your support system. You can live values that you uphold. You don't report into something bigger than yourself where you don't get to assert what you care about and share that proudly. And now with this tool, you can do all of those things right within the comfort of wherever home is for you. I think that makes this such an equalizer because we don't have to leave our support systems in order to even have a chance at this type of success.
Yeah. And I think it's about, one of the reasons I started Real Talk as a series before COVID was about financial well-being.
That's right.
And financial well-being as part of your whole life outcomes. Yeah.
That's right.
So it is part of that. And so what we're offering through this program is for you to, if you're wairua, your spirituality is good. If you're hauora, your health, your tinana, your body is good. If you're hinengaro, if your mindset is good. Yeah. How about adding on this other part of our wholeness, which is your financial well-being? It's part of the whole picture. And so this is what HIWA is offering. Ines, would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. So you've had experience with me, Rachel, when setting up a store. And the first thing I talk about is the money. And so for me, I tend to be, not as a person, but I am happy to speak about money. I put finances forward because finances feeds my children. So that's how I tend to approach life. But what I have found, my experience, is that I have been a bit one-dimensional in the past, and I can annoy a few people in my whānau and around me because I will be front. That will be my first thing I talk about and go to, and I protect it. And I haven't always protected my wairua. I haven't always protected my hauora. I haven't always protected my relationships, friendships, family. And so it is the balance, the whole lot. And so that's what I'm really excited about, is I can bring forward the talk about money. Like, I'm happy to talk about that and be like, you're in commerce, you're going to make some money, and we're going to do that in half an hour.
Yeah.
We're going to get you there right away. But having that sisterhood of what Rise 2025 sort of offers is so important for true success from my experience, I've found.
Yeah. And so one of the questions that's just popped up is, what does HIWA mean? And I can't wait to tell you what HIWA means, because it's an amazing part of our culture, of our Māori culture. And so if you think about our culture, we were master navigators of the universe. That's how we traveled, was through identifying where the stars, where the moon would take us, from all the way from the Pacific, all the way to Aotearoa. And so we have a constellation which is called Matariki, and we believe and we know that has guided us in life. So HIWA Iterangi is one of those 9 stars. And we are about to come into what we call Māori New Year, which is around the lunar calendar. And so HIWA Iterangi is a star that our tradition said that we would put all of our dreams and aspirations up to HIWA Iterangi. Yeah, that's where you dream. That's where you put all your aspirations out up to HIWA Iterangi. And those aspirations are about what comes true and what is realized in terms of what you want for yourself. So HIWA Iterangi is the whole word. HIWA is really our 21st century take on that.
Sure.
So yeah, that's my understanding. And there's master knowledge holders of this kōrero around what we call Māramataka. So that's our year. It's not a Gregorian calendar, it's a lunar calendar. And so yeah, it's really exciting to be able to connect my culture, which is very important to me, my values, into the services and actually the products that I put out on through my business. So everything needs to line up. So I couldn't imagine ever calling one of my sort of programs that is very focused on Indigenous anything but a Māori name. Rise 2025 is really the vision. So as David shared, as Indigenous people, we have survived. Yeah, and so Rise really is a word that I think is global, which says, now we're ready to rise. And 2025 is basically when 100,000 Indigenous leaders, both women and men, and their whānau will be connected into this kaupapa through Rise, or through this purpose, through Rise, and through all of the other things that we do. So thank you for asking that question. Hopefully that, that is a great way to explain online. So I had a couple of other questions before I get into what are you signing up for when you join Rise for our guests here. So partnerships, obviously you have lots of Shopify partners, I understand. You've got 1 million shop fronts through your platform. What are the benefits, some of the benefits of coming through and using the platform as it is at a very basic level? So I'm not talking about all the flashy things. I'm talking about at a basic level, what do you get when you open up your store with Shopify? I'll go to Jace first.
Sure. Well, I think your story is the perfect example of this, right? Is that at the most basic level, you're paying $29 US to launch a store that you could start making money on within 30 minutes. Or less. Of course, you can add all the bells and whistles that you want, but at the end of the day, you're able to sell a product online and have payment securely provided to you.
I hear mama. Great. David, what else? What else are some of the great basic level things that you need?
A secure place to process payments. I mean, I come from finance background, and you will find other solutions out there. But if you're looking about security and looking after the payments that come through, and also the details of your customers, that stuff is very important. Is very, very important. Having that platform to be able to sell and have products online, and on a very, very basic level, as a Pacific Islander. It was always hard to ask for help. And one of the key features about Shopify is that there's 24/7 support. And if you want to, as we try to learn things through resources we read, you can ring up and ask them to walk you through on how to do certain things.
Yeah.
And I only realized after that was just so powerful, because you don't have to be on there. You can learn. Someone can help you. And it's our job to be there to teach you and to do it well.
Great. And I know as entrepreneurs, sometimes we will be up in the middle of the night. And so there's still somebody at the other end of the phone. I mean, that's powerful. Hey, Ines, I just want to quickly ask Ines something because someone's asked a question of you. And what advice would you give for tangata in the steps of becoming financially sound whilst being mindful of wairua and hauora?
What advice? I'll only speak from my experience, from my little journey. I think that's the safest way.
Yes.
And that is like, when you have a chain, like if you tied 1, 2, 3, 4 together, your hauora, your money, your tinana, your whatever, all together, your hinengaro, and you're walking along the side of a narrow track along the side of a maunga called life, and one of them falls down, the whole lot go down. So I would say go slow. Like, I'm a really fast person, used to be in my 20s, in my 30s, just like everything has got to be done now and tomorrow and yesterday. And I thought that was progress, but I have had about 3 or 4 restarts in life because I would go forward so fast and succeed, and then I would go back again, and then it's exhausting. And someone who just takes their time and pieces together their hauora, their hinengaro, their wairua, their money, in together, gets to the same point as a fast, super entrepreneurial person. So I would say you literally slow down and go as fast as the slowest component, or the most unhealthy component. If it's your wairua, fix that and then go back to your finances. If your finances, fix your finances and then make sure they all travel together alongside that money. Is that kind of?
Kia ora.
Yeah.
Love that one. Kia ora, Ines. Sorry, Jace, I did. You did have something to say, and I would say, if bring your daughter, she can be part of the live stream, no problem.
She was going to have no other choice than that. She loves this, and I think this is also one of the beautiful parts about this, right? Is that we get the opportunity to bring these skill sets into our homes, and all of the little eyes are watching and realizing it's not so difficult. I think a lot of our youth see this as easy as using Facebook, and the sky's the limits after that. So there's a lot of opportunity for us to be role models and help our youth recognize that they have value, that they can share with the world, and that deserves to be compensated fairly. So that's my real goal in this. I always say my daughter is my boss. So she's been to many of my speaking engagements, and it's getting easier and easier now that they're in
the She'll be a pro. She'll be a pro, Jace, once she gets even younger than you. Yeah,
that's right.
We did have some pre-questions before we came on this, and one of them was around, what would be the key things that you would think about as you're setting up your online business around things like insurances, legal advice. What are the basics that you would need to think about as you were setting up your shop? And I'll go to David.
It's a good question. Working within capital and working within different regions, the number one thing is always go to the experts in your region. That's very, very important.
So true.
One thing that we always talk about when someone asks my financial advice or taxation is knowing how complicated it is within different regions in terms of taxation, and especially if you're looking for cross-border commerce. So really seeking out those that can give you advice. Like, for example, an organization like Rise 25, that's just like invaluable. Like, people that want to help and want to be there. I didn't have that when I was doing things with my business. A lot of people didn't have that support. So that's just so important. I cannot emphasize how important that is. Because you have people along there with that journey, and finding those experts in those regions that can give you advice is very, very important. And I know Rachel and your team probably have connections to help people with that. So thinking about that trading, the e-commerce place, where that's happening, and then look for advice on that. And if you can get multiple sources, so you don't want to mix up your taxes. They have a way of finding you wherever you are.
wherever you are in the world.
Yeah.
Hey, David, I've just got a quick question from Bobby. She's asking you, as a Pacifica from New Zealand, it must be daunting. You've travelled and, you've been out into a global market. What made you courageous to leave New Zealand and pursue the career you have?
I think it was, I can tell you what it was. It was, growing up as a Pacifica in New Zealand, like being here, I saw as like I'm here with my cousins, on their land. Māori people were my whānau to me, related our journey and our things through that. But growing up in New Zealand, you experience the other side of certain things. So there may be some racism and prejudice as you grow up young from non-Indigenous New Zealanders reflecting that. So I grew up with a sense of in some ways feeling like, do I belong? Where do I belong? Like, where am I accepted for me? And I maybe let people tell me that too much. And then when I had the opportunity to travel, I found there's such an openness from people. Māori people were always really open, but all those interactions I had growing up through time and some nasty things made me. I don't think white New Zealanders want me here. And where do I belong? So I traveled and I found acceptance, and then I just wanted to travel more. So a lot of it was about learning and growing within that. Now I've been away, and in a lot of ways, you try to come back to your roots. So New Zealand. Now I know New Zealand is my home. That's where I'm from. That's where my roots are. I may have Samoan heritage, but this is my home. These are my people. So how do I come back? Because you've been away for a very long time, you start to feel lost sometimes. And so like meeting you, Rachel, and Dawn and those ones were just like one of the best experiences I've ever had. One of the most meaningful times.
Kia ora. And you are welcome back to Aotearoa anytime. And I know that you're also reaching out and starting to do some different projects with Samoa as well. So,
Any way that I'm looking to give back. Like I deal with a lot of majority of within Shopify, I deal with non-Indigenous merchants, and so I feel like not a different world, but a different place a lot of times.
Yeah.
But my opportunity to be involved in something like this and meet Indigenous merchants, the Māori, Samoan, Pacifica, First Nations in Canada, there are time for me to look after those things, my mind, my spirit, my heart. There's time for me to find a grounding.
Beautiful. Hey, there was another question that came in pre this live stream, which is around Indigenous IP. Jace, can I ask you about that, because it does come up? I mean, we've had a bit of misappropriation, as you know, across all Indigenous cultures. What would you say about protecting our IP?
Yeah, there's no real guarantees. But what I can say is that when you own your own business, you get to brand it your own way. You can put up gateways and paywalls. You can make sure your watermarks are on things. Like, you really get to control the level of how much your products and services make it into the world. The other part of this is that, Shopify is a platform. So our goal is not to create the products you have and compete with you. Our goal is just to be the platform in which you sell your products. So we're never going to mimic or replicate or try and outsell your products. That is not at all our business model. So from our end, that isn't something that a relationship with Shopify is going to impact. But we recognize that. And there's a huge opportunity, I think, for some policy and advocacy work around this space. I know certainly that's an issue for us Indigenous folks within Canada. But yeah, I think as an independent entrepreneur, it's your site, it's your story, it's your products, and you get to determine, who you sell to, and which products, are behind those paywalls and those gateways or behind those watermarks that I think give you way more protection than we kind of ever have had access to. Nez, do you want to add more to that?
Oh yeah, totally. So probably over the last 5 years, I've been trying to be digital in my business because I was a solo person, and I thought, how do I get into as many homes as I can? So that was what the decision I made about 5 years ago. But I remember going, having to deal with doing programs like my program and thinking, how do I protect my IP when I have no money to pay for the IP lawyer? And it was my mother, who said to me, she was really staunch. She says, remember that our Māori way of protecting our IP was through oral traditions. So we would hand down whakapapa by speaking it, and you remember it. So I started trying to do videos and workshops where I talked, and people would say, can we have a handout? And I'd say, I don't have one. You're going to have to remember it and listen. And so when I came to the whole Shopify and started to learn about how to put my videos and my kōrero and my downloads behind a payment wall, meaning if you want it, you have to pay for it. But I can be generous with it. I can open that up to people when I want to, but it means other people can't come and tahai it, and it goes to the right place. So I've actually felt safer in this realm than I have writing down a book or something like that. Yeah.
So that goes back to our traditions, and goes back to our whakapapa, which it was a very oratory. We were writers, we were orators. And so I love that kōrero, Ines. I think that's a really your mum's a clever woman. She's a clever woman. Hey, there's a couple of other questions. I'm just trying to keep up. I'm not the Prime Minister who can have a live feed and read her questions and answer them all at once. Sorry, that's not me. So if I don't answer your questions, whānau, that you're putting up here, we will come back to it. That's the commitment. I'd really like to talk about HIWA and the process that we're going to go through. So whānau, you can apply. Applications will be live. We're going to post the link, and it is for the inaugural program here in Aotearoa is for Māori and Pacific. Why? Because that's my platform and that's my audience, and it's an equalizer, as David used that word. I'm going to use that word as well. Is that we want to be playing in the same field as everyone else, and sometimes we just need to do things our way, and so that's what we're doing. We are accepting online applications over the next 2 weeks. So from today through to next week, and I think it's the 23rd. I'll have to check. It'll be on the application form. It's about a week and a half that you get to apply online, and it's a really simple process. Once you apply, you'll get to meet some of the teams who are, we've done a video for you, and then you'll get to come to a hui online, which will be a zui, next Friday. So you'll get to learn more information. When you apply, you'll actually get a download as well of the actual schedule of the program. But basically, we've got 9 steps to HIWA. So I explained what HIWA was and is. And it's a 9-stage program, which is going to take you over 9 weeks. To get to that process. And the word iwa, which is IWA, actually means 9 as well. Cool. So, just all happened like that naturally, of course. And so it all came together nicely. So we've got 9 steps to HIWA. It is a commitment from you. And I always believe it's about what you put in is what you get out. And so we are there to guide you. We are there to support you. We are there to champion you along this journey. We are not there to do the work for you. I'm really upfront with all of the programs that we run. This is about self-determination, about direct yourself to what you want to achieve, your dreams, of your aspirations for your online business. But the key to this program is really about the self-development that you want to do for yourself. And so it's going to be a journey, because we run these here in New Zealand. We've run it in Samoa, Chile, where we weren't even speaking English, and it still worked. still worked whānau because it was about the intention. It was about the intention. And, we don't only connect through our words. Yeah, there's the unspoken that is sometimes more important than what has been said. Yeah, and it's that wholeness that we bring as wahine, as sacred woman to this world. And so we really are tapping into all of those things. It's our wairo, it's our spirituality, it's our hauora, it's our well-being, it's our physical body. Yeah, how is that? How is our wellness within our physical body? And then when you put all those things together and you add in things like this program, we believe that at the end of the 9 weeks, you will see even more possibilities than you did before you came into this program. And you've got all of us, plus my awesome team, Hene Morki, Paniataka Brown, Jackie, Curry, who is Samoan, and also Amy McLean, who are there with you, and so many more. So you will be with us, we'll be a collective together. And that's the other thing, we don't want you to do this alone. So this is about a collective effort. It's a collective effort for us to do things together. And if there's ever something that I've learned through COVID-19, it's that we have to do things together.
Yes.
Yeah. No longer should there be one person in charge of how we define where we go in life. Yeah. It's a community, it's a hapu, it's an iwi, that we do this together. It's a whānau. So HIWA will be a whānau, just like Rise 2025 is a whānau. And I'm just so grateful that I have Shopify as part of our new whānau. So, we've got someone here from Oklahoma. How cool is that? So that's the process. So I know what everyone's going to be thinking, okay, so what does it look like and what are all the steps? What I would say to you, if you are curious about what HIWA is all about, click the button that we're going to post here and apply and come and listen to more. Don't get caught up in all of you need to know everything all at the beginning. That's not what this is about. That's about you coming on a journey with other women and trusting yourself that this is the right place for you because you're amongst your sisters. You're amongst women who are all on different pathways, different stages in their life, but actually there's a commonality of what we all want. We all want the best for ourselves. We all want the best for our whānau. Yeah. So come and be curious. That is my challenge to you. Now, don't make up your mind right now based on this live stream. Make it as you come through the journey with us. So as we build relationships, as we build trust, as you get to know us more through this process, that's when you can make the right decision because it's about a partnership. You have to fit with us, we have to fit with you. So in the middle, that's where the magic happens. So whānau, I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us here today. We want to keep it, nice and concise. We know you're all busy people. So I'm going to open up to my beautiful manufiri, my guests, and just ask them, what is your hope for our new partnership and the program HIWA moving forward? So Inez, I'm going to come to you.
Oh, I would love, my hope would be that Māori and Pacifica women know it is for you. You're allowed. Just reach it and touch it. Don't stand and look at it. Go in, touch it, enroll, get started, try it, think about it, but just, it's for you. Start. That's what I
love it.
Kia ora. Jace?
Yeah, I think I would like to speak directly to the women as well and say it's okay to make money doing what you love. And through Shopify, it's been way easier than it ever has been before to really get to assert who you are and what it is that you love and what it is your value. So yes, it's okay to make money doing what you love.
David.
Yeah. What would I hope from partnership with HIWA and Shopify and in the future is what I know is possible. I believe that Pacifica Māori women will be successful just from who you are. From my mum, she was the boss. She led us. But what I hope from the partnership and from Shopify is that we can make that faster, and that we can impact and increase the number that can follow, that those that join HIWA and follow this will encourage others. We'll just see that come through. And one thing I noticed from Pacifica around the world, like in this says, this place is for us and is for our children.
Kia ora. Kia ora, David. Hawhatai lava. And so I would just like to leave you with give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to try it on, to try something new, to really be part of a collective, because there is nothing more powerful than a collective. So we're going to support you to take care of yourself first and foremost, and then we're going to support you to really ramp that up and take care of each other and do this together. So thank you, everyone. Ngā mihi nui kia koutou, kia pai tō rā whakatā this weekend. Look after yourself, stay safe. We are amazing, New Zealand. Like really, Aotearoa, we've done an amazing job and we can continue to do that. We have other Indigenous brothers and sisters who are also cheering us on out there, Jace and David and so many more. And so, you know, together we can do this. On that note, whānau, thank you to you, David. Thank you to you, Jace. Thank you, Inez, for all that we have done. And we've only sort of done it in the last few weeks. I can just see a bright future for us all together with the partnership. So stay with me and we'll have a little chat afterwards. But ka kite, everyone. Bye.
Everyone, thank you.
Ka kite.